There is a reason why the greatest thinkers, warriors, and leaders in history valued silence. It is not because they lacked words, but because they understood the true power of restraint. To stay silent in the face of insult, provocation, or ignorance is not weakness, it is wisdom. Silence is the shield of the wise, and when wielded correctly, it makes you untouchable. Think about this. When someone throws words at you, an insult, a lie, a criticism, they expect a response. They expect you to defend, to fight back, to validate their attack with your attention. But what happens when you remain silent? Their words bounce off the shield of your composure. Their arrows fall short, and their frustration grows. Your silence becomes a fortress that they cannot breach. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, reminded himself in his meditations, "You always own the option of having no opinion. That is a weapon." The power to withhold judgment, to withhold reaction, to say nothing. This is mastery of the self. Because what can anyone do to a man who refuses to be moved by words? What can they gain when their insults dissolve into the air, unanswered and ignored? Silence is not about avoiding conflict. It is about choosing which battles deserve your energy. Most conflicts in life are noise distractions designed to pull you away from your higher purpose. The Stoics understood that life is short, time is fleeting, and energy is precious. To waste it on every insult, every petty argument, every attempt to provoke you, is to drain yourself of the strength you need to build your destiny. By staying silent, you protect that energy. You refuse to spend yourself cheaply. But silence does more than protect, it intimidates. When you remain silent, you become unpredictable. People cannot read you, they cannot control you, they cannot manipulate you with their words. In silence, you project strength. You show that you are above the storm, not trapped within it. Your calm presence unsettles the noisy and insecure because it reminds them of their lack of control. There is immense dignity in silence. Words can be twisted. Arguments can be lost, but silence cannot be defeated. It stands as an unshakable statement. I am above this. And when practiced consistently, silence builds an aura around you. People start to realize that your attention is not easily won, your energy is not easily stolen, and your mind is not easily disturbed. So the next time someone seeks to provoke you, remember this: your silence is your shield. Do not hand over your power by reacting. Do not give them victory by lowering yourself to their level. Stand still, stay calm, say nothing, and watch as their efforts collapse under the weight of your indifference. Because in the end, silence is not emptiness. It is armor, it is strength, and it is the mark of a truly wise man. Every time you react in anger, in frustration, or sent an impulse, you surrender. You hand over the keys to your inner world and let someone else drive. That is the hidden cost of reaction. It makes you a servant to another person's will. They say something sharp, and you flare up. They mock you, and you lash back. In that instant, they own you. You may think you are defending yourself, but in reality, you are dancing to their tune. The Stoics saw this clearly. Epictetus, born a slave and later a great teacher of freedom, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Notice the wisdom here. Life will throw insults, failures, betrayals, and hardships at you. You cannot stop them all, but you always hold one final line of defense, your response. If you lose that, you lose everything. If you control it, nothing can truly harm you. Reaction is easy. Anyone can get angry. Anyone can shout. Anyone can let their emotions run wild. But silence that takes strength. Silence is not empty. It is choice. It is the deliberate act of saying, "You will not move me. You will not control me. I remain the master of myself." That is what makes silence so powerful. It turns the tables. Instead of surrendering, you take command. Not of them, but of yourself. And self-control is the greatest victory any man can win. Think of the battlefield. The undisciplined soldier charges at every provocation, wasting energy, exposing himself to traps. But the disciplined warrior holds his ground, waiting for the right moment. He knows patience is power. The same principle applies in life. When you react recklessly, you expose yourself. But when you stay silent, you conserve energy, maintain clarity, and remain untouchable. People will always try to provoke you. Sometimes it is deliberate, sometimes it is unconscious, but it will happen. The weak want to see you break because it validates their own weakness, but the strong remain calm. The strong understand that every reaction is a transaction. You give away a piece of yourself, and when you stay silent, you deny that transaction. You keep what is yours. The truth is, silence is not passive. It is an active form of dominance. When someone tries to trigger you and you don't respond, it unsettles them. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know if you're unaffected or planning something greater. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. So the next time you feel the urge to react, stop, breathe. Remember, reaction is surrender. Silence is control. Do not let them own your emotions. Do not let them steer your mind. Keep your calm. Hold your silence. And in that moment, you will be stronger than any insult, any enemy, any storm. Because the one who rules himself cannot be ruled by anyone else. When someone tries to insult you, provoke you, or drag you into conflict, they are revealing something about themselves. They are showing you their insecurity, their hunger for attention, their desire to control you. The moment they open their mouth with venom, they expose their weakness. But most people miss this truth because they are too busy reacting. They answer insult with insult, anger with anger, and in doing so, they cover up the very weakness that was being revealed. This is why silence is so powerful. It leaves their weakness naked for the world to see. Picture this. Someone mocks you in front of others. They expect you to fire back, to defend yourself, to argue, to match their energy. That is the trap, because the moment you respond, you give them legitimacy. You validate their words by treating them as worthy of a reply. But when you remain silent, something entirely different happens. The room feels the imbalance. People notice the desperation in their voice, the insecurity behind their attack, because your calm silence becomes a mirror. It reflects their weakness back at them. The Stoics believed that dignity is not found in winning. Arguments, it is found in refusing to be lowered by them. Epictetus said, "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity." When someone attacks you with words, what they truly want is your approval in disguise. They want you to acknowledge them, to give them importance. Silence denies them that satisfaction. Silence declares, "You are not worthy of my energy." And here is the paradox. The more you stay silent, the louder their weakness becomes. They may raise their voice, repeat themselves, or try harder to provoke you, but each attempt only makes them look smaller. The calmer you remain, the more foolish they appear. It is a battle they cannot win because they are fighting noise against stillness, insecurity against composure. Think of a child throwing a tantrum. If you argue with the child, you enter the same level of immaturity. But if you remain calm, the tantrum burns itself out, and the child looks foolish in the silence. The same is true with adults who try to provoke you. The louder they shout, the more their lack of control is exposed. Silence is not just about protecting yourself. It is about revealing the truth. It shows who is strong and who is weak, who is grounded and who is desperate, who controls himself and who cannot. That is why silence is feared by the insecure. They cannot bear to see their weakness reflected back at them without resistance. So the next time someone tries to belittle you, remember this: your silence is not defeat. Your silence is exposure. It is a spotlight on their weakness, and it forces them to confront it, whether they admit it or not, to stay silent and let their own words destroy them. Respect is not demanded, and it is never begged for. True respect is commanded, and one of the most powerful ways to command respect is through silence. Words are cheap, arguments are endless, shouting only proves insecurity, but silence carries weight. Silence forces people to pay attention, to lean in, to question what you might be thinking. It gives your presence gravity. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." These words remind us that silence is not emptiness, but discipline. By choosing when to speak and when to withhold your voice, you create value in your words. When you speak less, your words matter more. And when your words matter more, people listen with greater respect. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the loudest in the room, or are they the ones who speak only when necessary? The loud ones may grab attention for a moment, but the calm, deliberate ones command lasting respect. Their silence is not weakness, it is power under control. Silence also shields you from foolishness. The more you speak, the more you risk saying something unnecessary, unwise, or regrettable. Arguments often spiral not because of the first insult, but because of the many unnecessary words that follow. By staying silent, you avoid lowering yourself to petty debates. You rise above the noise, and in doing so, you establish yourself as someone who cannot be dragged down by triviality. That is where respect is born, not from fighting over every word, but from showing you are too disciplined to waste yourself on them. Consider this: silence in the face of provocation unnerves people. When someone insults you and you don't respond, it unsettles them. They expect anger, they expect fire, they expect to control you through words, but your silence denies them that control. It shows that your dignity is intact, your composure is unshaken, and your worth is beyond their reach. Others watching see this, and respect naturally grows. Respect also comes from mystery. A man who talks endlessly reveals everything: his thoughts, his emotions, his weaknesses. But a man of silence reveals little. His restraint makes people wonder what he is thinking, what he knows, what he might do next. And mystery in itself is a form of power. When people cannot read you, they cannot control you. They are forced to respect you, so learn to use silence as a tool of strength. Do not feel the need to answer every insult, correct every lie, or respond to every provocation. Reserve your words for moments that truly matter. Speak with purpose, not with impulse, and let your silence speak for you when noise surrounds you. Because in the end, a silent man commands more respect than 1,000 loud voices. His silence is not emptiness, it is authority, and authority, once established, cannot be ignored. Every word you speak, every argument you enter, every emotional reaction you give away, it all costs energy, and energy is the most precious currency of life. Once it's spent, you don't get it back. That's why the Stoics valued silence, not because they feared speaking, but because they understood that silence is conservation. It is the art of protecting your inner power and directing it toward what truly matters. Most people drain themselves in battles that are meaningless. They argue over insults. They fight for recognition from those who don't matter. They waste hours in gossip, in proving themselves and defending their pride. But what is left when the me's fades? Nothing. Their energy is gone, their mind is scattered, and their spirit is tired. This is why silence is wisdom. It prevents you from spending yourself on the trivial. Marcus Aurelius warned, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. What does that mean? It means most of the energy you lose in life is not stolen by others, it is given away by you. You estimate an insult as important and you waste energy reacting. You estimate a rumor as damaging and you waste energy defending. You estimate a provocation as worth your time and you throw your peace away. But silence revokes that estimate. Silence says, this is not worthy of me. When you stay silent, you conserve mental energy. Your mind stays clear. Your focus remains sharp. You're not replaying arguments in your head, not rehearsing comebacks, not burning yourself out in endless conflict. Instead, your energy is intact, ready to be spent on growth, on creation, on mastering your craft, on building the life you want. Silence makes you efficient. It prevents leaks in the vessel of your mind. Silence also protects emotional energy. Anger is exhausting. Defensiveness is draining. Anxiety feeds on explaining yourself to others. But silence starves these emotions. It calms the storm inside and keeps your spirit at peace. The Stoic knows that true power is not in winning every argument, it is in not needing to argue at all. Think of your energy as firewood. Every time you react, you burn a log. Every time you fight a meaningless battle, you toss another into the flames. Soon, nothing remains and you stand cold and empty, but when you remain silent, you preserve that fire. And when the right moment comes, the battles that matter, the actions that shape your destiny, you have the fuel to burn bright. So protect your energy. Not every word deserves a response. Not every attack deserves your fire. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is silence, not because you are weak, but because you are saving your power for greater things. In silence, you conserve. In silence, you grow. In silence, you prepare. And when the time comes to act, you will have all the strength the noisy ones wasted. Victory is not always won by shouting louder, striking harder, or proving your point. Often, the greatest victory is won in stillness, in silence. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, you achieve a victory far greater than any argument could give you, because you don't just defeat their words, you defeat their control over you. Most people believe victory is external, to crush an opponent, to win the debate, to silence the other side, but the Stoics knew a deeper truth. True victory is internal. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The moment you refuse to react, the moment you keep your composure, you win. You win because you maintain your power. You win because you prove to yourself that nothing external can break your inner fortress. When someone tries to insult you, their goal is not simply to speak, it is to control. They want you angry, defensive, emotional. If they succeed, they own you, even if only for a moment. That is why silence is victory. It denies them everything they sought. It is a triumph of self, mastery over manipulation. Your silence tells them you cannot touch me, and that declaration is stronger than any argument. Think of history's great leaders and philosophers. They understood that battles of words rarely lead to real change. What creates impact is presence, discipline, and control. The man who can remain calm under attack, who can stay silent in chaos, becomes unshakable. His silence is louder than any roar. It communicates, I am above this, I am untouchable. And in that unshakable calm lies victory. Silence is also victory because it breaks the cycle of conflict. Anger answered with anger breeds only more anger. Insults returned with insults lead to endless feuds. But silence ends the battle before it begins. When you refuse to fight, the war cannot continue. You stand victorious, not because you crushed the other, but because you denied the fight altogether. That is the highest form of triumph, to win by not even needing to engage. And let us be clear, silence is not retreat. Silence is not cowardice. Silence is strategy. It is choosing the higher ground, conserving your energy, and focusing on what truly matters. The coward hides in silence, but the Stoic stands in silence not out of fear, but out of strength. He knows that his dignity, his purpose, his life's mission are far too important to be wasted on trivial noise. So remember this, every time you stay silent when provoked, you are winning a silent battle. You are proving that you cannot be controlled, cannot be broken, cannot be dragged down. That is victory. And the greatest victories are not won on battlefields or in debates. They are won within. Silence is the proof of that. Silence is the crown of the strong. Silence is the ultimate victory.